Yeah, well, let's have a look at what's making news in print and online this morning. We're joined for the first time by Ebony Bennett, the Deputy Director at independent think tank, the Australia Institute. Good morning, Ebony, and welcome to News Breakfast.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start with Boris Johnson. The papers in the UK have been pretty extraordinary. I've been having a look at some of the headlines over there. But there have been some doozies here as well. Let's have a look at the West Australian.
Yeah, absolutely. The West Australian, I think, took the cake for me of all the front pages this morning. It's got a great visual image as well. Boris Johnson obviously resigned about 9:30 last night, Australian time. Not really much of an apology in his resignation or anything really approaching the idea that he'd maybe got something wrong. And he's really just been the victim of a series of scandals of his own making, and it appears that the last one was one too many. And I guess to lose one minister might be misfortune, two could be called carelessness, but a mass resignation of 40 plus ministers, I guess, proved terminal for his prime ministership. And now I guess the UK public will be looking to who's going to replace him as prime minister. He stood down as the Conservative leader, but he's still essentially caretaker prime minister until they choose a new one. So that's where this is all heading now. Yeah,
it was interesting. There was a statement out of the US that Joe Biden sort of there wasn't any great warmth about it towards Boris Johnson himself, but rather just a confirmation that the relationship between the two countries would continue strongly. I'm assuming we will see something very similar this morning in Australia as the Prime Minister's office awakes.
Yes, you would assume so. Obviously, the United States and Australia have a very close relationship with the UK, and it's the kind of relationship that survives no matter who is in the top job, as Australia saw when Donald Trump was president. You know, these things go through rocky patches, but the strength of the relationship survives. And certainly Boris Johnson has been quite a character of, I guess, division over the years. And yeah, as I said, this is just the latest in a series of scandals that have rocked his government.
Manna from heaven for newspaper editors everywhere. The West Australian certainly gets our gold star this morning. Let's move on to the forthcoming federal budget in October. The Courier Mail has a break on what to expect in that.
Yeah, absolutely. The new Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, is looking at including wellbeing in October's budget, a wellbeing statement. This is an idea that Jim Chalmers has been pushing for a long time now. He first spoke to the Australia Institute about it in about February 2020, and he talks about measuring what matters. So not only looking at the regular economic indicators in the budget like GDP growth and, you know, debt and deficit and all the rest of it, but looking at measuring what matters to the community as well, indicators that would look at social and natural well-being and capital and things like that. So it's something that his counterpart in New Zealand has been doing for a long time now. And Joseph Stiglitz, the Nobel laureate and former chief economist at the World Bank, talked to ABC 7:30 this week, and his advice for the new Treasurer was you want the economy to be serving the people, not the people the economy. And so I think you'll see that come through strongly in this budget with this new measure.
Let's turn to the Canberra Times and what hopefully is the end of a long-running case that has perplexed many people in the lack of transparency, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, a secret trial of Bernard Collaery that's been ongoing for a long time now, or certainly elements of it remained secret, and an excellent decision here from the Attorney General, Mark Dreyfus, to drop the prosecution of Bernard Collaery. The prosecutions should probably never have taken place. They've received huge amount of criticism from the legal fraternity and from our allies in Timor-Leste, in East Timor, who really criticised this politically motivated prosecution of Bernard Collaery and Witness K, essentially for revealing wrongdoing from the Australian government for bugging the East Timorese cabinet back when we were trying to negotiate the Timor Gap agreement. So a long-running saga that's really essentially ruined Bernard Collaery's life for a number of years, and a very pleasing decision from the Attorney General.
No shortage of Bernard's Collaery supporters in Canberra. I know that for a fact. Let's finish off with our front page, the ABC website. Very interesting move, Penny Wong, the Foreign Minister, to meet her Chinese counterpart.
Yeah, I think this is really good news. We've seen both the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister essentially on an international charm offensive to repair a lot of damaged or broken relationships internationally. And China is a major trading partner of Australia. We haven't been able to have high-level talks with the Chinese government since about 2019. So this is really encouraging without necessarily giving any ground here. Penny Wong will be talking to her counterpart, and hopefully this means we're seeing an end to that kind of megaphone diplomacy that really hasn't proven very effective, and the beginning of a fresh slate for our relationship with China.
I can't wait to see the readout from both sides and see whether there are any differences, what they both sort of, the mood, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm not sure how much headway Penny Wong will make on addressing some of the mutual concerns from both sides, but certainly it's going to be a really good start considering we couldn't get anyone to pick up or answer the phone for the last couple of years. But there's a lot to discuss and get through. But if we begin by looking at our areas of shared interest, there's many of those, whether it's climate change or trade, that will put us off to a good start.
Ebony Bennett, have a great Friday. Thanks for joining us on News Breakfast.
Thanks for having me.